Hello, everybody. We're back. Welcome to our episode 18, I think we're on.
Yes.
And today we promised that we were going to, um, I don't know how you want to say it. We're gonna talk about all of our magical experiences and adventures that we had from our exercise last week at the end of the podcast. So if you missed that after you hear today, you'll probably want to go back and pick up on that and then catch up with us, okay? All right, so let's
I
start out by
I will
talking a little bit.
I will put a link from the last podcast in the description.
Thanks. I never think to say those things. Okay, so let's start out with a description or a kind of an acknowledgement of what's going on around us astrologically, in nature, and all, because this is just such a perfect. I love how spontaneous it was during the podcast that the exercise came out, and then to realize the astrology and the patterns of nature that we're in currently that are so supportive of that magical exercise. So we are at Beltane, which is the halfway mark between spring equinox and summer solstice. So we are halfway, which means that marks the peak fertility point in the creative process. So we are currently at peak fertility for manifesting and creating. And there's a lot of talk also. I want to kind of touch on this thing about the blue moon. 'Cause, you get on these social media things and the interpretation for blue moons right now is not it's not in resonance with the ancient definition of a blue moon. In the ancients, a blue moon was you have to consider a full season. So since we're in spring, we're talking spring. And within each season, there are typically 3 full moons, but there are 13 full moons each year. So a blue moon is when a season has 4 full moons instead of 3 full moons. The third full moon is considered the blue moon. So this is a very powerful Beltane new moon on the Scorpio-Taurus axis. And as an astrologer, I'm an esoteric astrologer, and as an astrologer, I don't tend to focus on individual signs. I consider the axis because they're always working in tandem. It's the Scorpio-Taurus axis that is being activated or highlighted. And so this is how I call gentle shadow work, because where the sun is, which is currently Taurus, and so the shadow, what is in the shadow is in the opposite. That's Scorpio. And so we just had a full moon in Scorpio yesterday. So that full moon is shedding light on the shadow aspect that needs to be released. And Scorpio is about power, control. Okay. So uh an expression of Scorpio, a harmonious expression of Scorpio is power within, empowered. A shadow expression of Scorpio is control. So control over rather than power within. And so rather than having your own power coming out, you're trying to control things that are outside you. This we're called micromanaging, as we were talking about this morning. Um, so that's what's being highlighted. And then when you when you consider the other end of the axis where the sun is sitting, that's Taurus. And Taurus is about our connection with nature. You remember, nature's not outside of us. We are part of nature. Okay, so the strong emphasis on the Scorpio Taurus axis with our little magical adventures just perfect because you can take any of your Scorpio shadows. Please don't spend time in it. Just know, oh, I hear that coming up. Or don't even. Here's a lot of things that I've heard. I'm crying and I don't know why. I just had to cry. I saw something just made me cry. I don't know why. But it was a good cry. hmm That's that's this right there. That's all you should do with it and just be grateful. But then you take that light, you always feel so much lighter. Your heart is so much lighter. And you sit in that light energy. You go out into your little magical walk and you build that connection with nature. And that just the release of the shadows of the controlling and the micro management of for me, it's micromanaging what I'm trying to manifest, you know, and it's just let it go and trust and accept. And that's a big one with Scorpio is trust. And so a lot of things about trust will be coming up, and you just take that out into nature and feel your connection that builds your trust. Um, the other aspect that's happening that is really huge is Uranus just went into Gemini. And from an esoteric standpoint, Gemini is consciousness. It's our consciousness. And with Uranus moving into Gemini, like like our little self, our daily self, our mundane self, consciousness there is represented by Mercury, which we consider all about communication. And so, yay, because we could take that level into our walk and we're communicating with whatever we're getting for communication on our walk. On a deeper level, we are communing with a higher consciousness. And with Uranus is, well, it's the ruler of Aquarius. And so the ruler of the age that we're moving into, the age of Aquarius, which is ultimate freedom, not just rebel freedom, but real ultimate inner freedom to be, as we're on this doing and being streak here. So the ultimate freedom of being your higher self. So we're really expressing more of our higher self. So when you go out into your little magical walk and you're com- communicating with the things around you that are in nature for the purpose of communing with your higher consciousness on an esoteric level, on a soul level. And that is anchoring the Aquarian energy of the new age. And that Uranus, the ruler of this new age, has just come into Gemini, is we're being asked to move into our higher mind. And so all of this, oh, Mercury retrograde stuff should not really affect us. That's a really powerful tool if you're coming at it from an esoteric point where you're not really falling prey to, oh, my computer crashed or my car broke down. Those are lower expressions of Mercury retrograde, which we are not in right now. I'm talking as the ruler of Gemini. It's the lower ruler of Gemini. So it's the smaller minded things. And Uranus moving into Gemini is birthing the new consciousness of humanity itself, of the age of Aquarius, that consciousness we are birthing right now. So this is the perfect time for this little exercise of being more and communing with nature. So we're on the Scorpio-Taurus axis for the full moon, which gives us free access to our higher consciousness and to bring in and anchor these energies that are around us right now from the full moon, from Uranus moving into Gemini. And we're just coming out of last month was such a big deal. It was everywhere. I know everybody's heard about big Aries stellium, all the planets that were in Aries. That's a very much of a pioneering energy. You can see now we have on May 1st, Beltane, we have the peak of fertility, we have a full moon that is shining light on shadow aspects of power and control. And that's not going to work as a one and done new moon release, find it release. This portal stays open for the entire month of May until that second new moon, which I think is on the 35th, I mean, full moon on the 31st. So we have this entire time that this little exercise that we did this week, we can access and build and expand what was revealed to us. So this is not just this full moon right here. The portal is open all the month of May. So take advantage of that. And I want to really accentuate the being versus the doing. And my week was full of doing. And Clementine and I are big on whatever we are saying in our podcast, we have to walk our talk. So we spend the week making sure we're walking our talk. And I had such an incredible week of scheduled doing that I was a bit concerned on whether I was going to be able to walk my talk and how I was going to be able to maintain my being when I had so much to do. And so I wanted to be super authentic with my magical experience, and I wanted to wait and wait and wait until it was a perfect time where there was not going to be doing involved, and that my actual little magical experience wasn't something I had scheduled in, so it was actually a doing instead of a being. So it ended up waiting until the last night, which turned out to be perfect because it was Beltane, it was a full moon, and it was a Venus day. Friday is a Venus day ruled by Venus, so perfect for authentic feminine energies all the way. And another thing super massively important about the astrology portal that we're in is that there are so many different aspects of where everything is positioned and how they are relating with each other in the full moon chart that governs this portal of May, that is about um reawakening ancestral wisdom. With Uranus involved, it'll be spontaneous. So again, it's about being, not doing. Like not sitting in a meditation with the intention of, I'm going to get some ancient wisdom open here. Not like that. It's like going to happen more like when you're on your magical adventure walk, something's just going to happen and you will know things that you don't know why, or new guides will just show up, new ancestors, guides, allies, and just reveal wisdoms. And a lot of it is going to come in codes, in light codes that it's not going to have words. So we won't process it that way. You just walk away feeling like super happy and grounded and connected without a why. You won't be able to explain it. In that one, you're just allowing the codes. This is what I call catching up with ourselves because, we recalibrate all the time. We release our shadow. We have to recalibrate our energy, and we need time for the physical to catch up with that recalibration. So, and when you go come off of your little magical adventure, you can um just stay with that grounded. It's funny because grounded people think about being really earthy and grounded and present and right here and tend to think right here, right now. And yes, but as I'm explaining with Uranus in Gemini, that is bringing in the new human, the new for the age of Aquarius. I'm speaking to our nervous system. We are creating, we are recreating, we are upgrading. The human nervous system is becoming a higher frequency than it's ever been before. And so, literally, going on our magical adventure walks, we're bringing the roots of our nervous system into Pachamama and connecting. And this particular full moon is um, the symbol. It's in harmony, in timing, in the old calendars. I believe Celtic calendars. The tree that goes with this full moon, the companion of this full moon, is the willow tree. And you can take your own symbolism from there, but the one I want to really touch on right now is willow trees are the tree that it sends its roots out sideways, the widest root system of all the trees. So being at peak fertility, being a new nervous system, grounding the age of Aquarius through the new human, which is through our nervous system with Uranus and Gemini. On your walks, just feel your nervous system going deeper and deeper and spreading. It's like the deep part is already there because we're on the Scorpio axis. And then you want to spread it wide, 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 wide. So this is, you're kind of visualizing like a shallow root system, but going wide. And that's important for the interconnectedness of all. So those are the energies that we are surrounded with our magical adventures. Okay, Clementine, sorry for that super long introduction. Where do you want to go from here? Did you have a magical adventure?
I had, or let me say differently, for me is every day a magical adventure, and sometimes it is a beautiful one, and sometimes it's a hard one, and sometimes I have no clue what it wants to tell me. Um, um, when I'm thinking, when I'm going further in my thought, what Robin was telling about the nerve system and the earthing and the willow tree, and I'm thinking the tree of life, then um, um, when we try to earth, we tend to put roots out of our feet into the ground. But you can also do it differently, and then you have to look more at the picture of the tree of life. The roots are turning back upwards. It is becomes a circle, and those roots are connecting with the branches that reach upward. And what you also can do for grounding is connecting yourself with your pelvic area, and not going inward to earth, but invite earth in this area. And Mother Earth, Pachamama, invite her there. So then um, um, you are earthing by, or grounding by being more, and not working hard to put all those roots in the earth. The way we have learned to look at the tree of life is that from you have here, I don't know if you can see that, a little hollow. From there downwards, everything are the roots. So you can from the tree of life, from your body. So everything till there can be very much grounded, and can be you can invite Mother Earth in there. Your neck is the stem, and everything upwards is as so your hair. Ask Robin what for her hair. Why is it important for Robin? At least that's why, if I understand it correctly, her hair are very much important. For me, as you see, it's not that important. But everything upward is the connection with the cosmos. And what happened this week when I'm connecting with this is, but I don't know what the beginning was anymore. I know I was working with my heart. And so opening up my heart, letting all the light in, but also all the light out. And where I was focused toward is not the heart, but the, how do you call those? The glands. And so you have also, I don't know if you see it. So I have to, here is my heart, but a little bit further upward, there you have your, we call it thymus
Thymus.
gland.
Mhm.
And what I got for an information that those glands are way more than only the glands, the products that they make. They are very close connection. It is more energy, and from the energetic connection, the thymus with the heart, helps very much to heal, and also get that new nervous system from the new era what Robin was talking about. And why I'm got this when I'm talking about the tree of life is that your throat gland, or your thyroid gland, where so many people have problems with, is at this stem, is at the roots of your being, and the head which is connected with Mother Earth, and the everything from your head, what is connected to the cosmos, that it is in between, and it's too much to explain everything for now because it went way farther, that insight. But what I got now out of um, talking about synchronicities, I have a window right there in front of me, and there was a little bird. I have no clue how you say the name of that bird in English, but he or she, I haven't looked that well, was looking in and was straight looking towards me when I was telling this. So um, the throat is the stem of the tree of life, is the connection between the roots and the cosmic, between the earth and the cosmic energy. And because we never have learned of connected, never have learned that what Robin said before, and nature is not outside of us, but we are nature. We are children of Mother Earth, of Pachamama, and that it's still strange for many people, and even for me, it's strange to talk about energy to everybody. By some people, I just be normal human, and, and or at least that will never happen because I never have been I have never been able to be normal, but I try to act as normal as possible. And now I've lost what I'm trying to say, but that probably a part of why so many people have this problem with the thyroid. Uh, it it um, it is even said that there are no women above a certain age that have no problem in these times. So not everybody has a problem that we can see in the blood works. Most people have, and especially women, and that has to do again with the function of the women with be able with the hormones. The hormones by women are a little bit more important because of being able to become pregnant. Um, um, and it has also to do with something that when we want to talk from the heart, but also from the soul, the throat says, "Oh, it's perhaps a little bit difficult or scared," and then um, you don't say your truth anymore. So it doesn't. Um, um, when I say it, um, what Spirit said to me a few days ago, you have to learn better to talk straight through your soul, and don't let the brain of Clementine let it uh, let it filter the brain of Clementine. Just uh, talk through without any restriction, without any fear also, because we are very scared to say things not right, but also, especially when it's about energetic things, then that people think that we are strange. And yes, we are. But that's our normal. Do you
We're
want
supposed to
to?
be.
Yes,
Yes,
we,
this is
we,
wonderful. 'Cause what I'm sorry, what you just put into words, how you just described that is 100% exactly what I was saying. The difference between um, Gemini, our consciousness, expressing through Mercury, which is the lower through the brain, through the, yeah, and Uranus expressing through Gemini is speaking from the heart. So that's perfect. That was perfect.
yeah, and the way I'm seeing it and the way I am learning this is that there is a difference between speaking from the heart and speaking from the soul. As speaking from the heart, have more practiced with it. And for me, that's easier. But speaking from the soul is still more difficult for me.
Well, speaking from the soul requires um a vulnerability that this is what I was touching on a little bit before is that what this axis that we're on right here that's being highlighted right now is supporting this transformation right here and it's because it requires a trust that yeah, this is just honestly, this is not what our cultures have nurtured is this deeper trust. And so it's gonna require a vulnerability to speak from the soul that normal people are not gonna lock you up or think you're just a basket case, you know? At the same time, it's being activated for everybody. So normal people who aren't all that conscious of what is transpiring around us, they're still feeling it. They simply aren't in harmony with it. Those are the ones we be seeing all of this power control and power trips happening because they're grasping for that feeling of empowerment, which is oftentimes mistaken with control. So power is not control. And look, we're seeking power. And so from, the small expression, that'll be a controlling, a micromanagement approach. And from the higher soul expression, well then you've got to have the trust to open up and just really put your authentic self out there and just say your truth without any regard to how it's going to be received. And that's really hard. That's really hard because our cultures, we're always, what's the other person going to do? We don't want to make the other person feel uncomfortable and blah, 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 blah. And that's disappearing. All of that is disappearing. And what this highlights as well is all of these power struggles, all of this vying for control and the lower expressions of Pluto are they've been there forever. This is part of a human condition. When you read mythology, Pluto is in Greek mythology, Pluto is Hades. And so if we've got these same concepts being represented all the way from our ancient mythologies, clearly they have always been there. So all the corruption and all the stuff that's coming out in social media and on the news, it's always been there. It's always been happening. The difference is it's being revealed to us. So what matters to us as individuals is how are we putting it into our own energetic system? You see, so if you go out into your nature walk and you maintain yourself in your being, even in the middle of all you're doing, which is what I did this week, it was really fun, then you keep your higher frequency. Maintaining that higher frequency, you don't always know what it means. It's not always comfortable. And oftentimes it triggers separation from people and situations around you. But that's a good thing because that's clarity. That's clarity. And from there, then again, you become the observer. And are all of those things happening around us? Yes, they are. But those things were happening around us last week when we weren't aware of it as well. So those energies were there. However, they had more power because we were not aware of them. So rather than seeing all of these things that are being revealed, it looks like such dark and icky things being revealed in social media and across the news and platforms, rather than seeing it as confirmation of a doomsday and more and more and more corruption and it's getting worse. It isn't. It isn't getting worse. It's always been there. We're becoming aware of it so that we are not subconsciously wearing it as our own. Now we have the power, thank you, Pluto, for deciding how we're going to accept that into our own personal energy field. And we just maintain our own personal energy field. That's called being. We're just being. And we want to be in our higher frequency and our nature walks and happy because I found a feather. You know, you tell that to a normal person, they're like, "Mm, okay," you know,
Right.
but I'm like, all right, you know, and I'm just like tippy toes all day long, like, you know, so I'm just being, and I'm just being me, because my entire life I've been told your head's always in the ozone, and I'm like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's very comfortable there, but I'm getting so many more messages and connections to ancient wisdoms. Like, if my head is in the ozone, I am very easily downloading those light codes, and I am not running it through my little brain. I'm just
Perhaps you have to,
accepting it.
perhaps you have to explain what that means that your head is in the ozone.
Head is in the ozone.
Because I know it, but I know the story. But don't know if everybody understands what you try to say where your head is.
I'm if they're watching me, I think it's evident.
That's true also.
But let me be kind. I've always been called airheaded, and head is always up in the ozone because I always have a different interpretation of what's happening than the people around me do, and they don't quite get it. But there are some people who do, like Yvonne, I love you. When we were kids, we used to lay out in the grass and look up in the clouds, and we could see all kinds of stuff happening in the clouds. And we'd sit there and tell stories to each other, just watching it go by. And other people around us just unaware of that aspect of life. So it seems to them like we're just airheaded and not grounded at all. But ironically, being grounded truly means that your nervous system is completely interconnected with Pachamama's nervous system. So if your head is in the ozone and you're getting understanding the codes and messages around you that go beyond the physical, then you are ultimately very grounded. So my joke back is that my head is in the ozone, yes, but my feet are not even at the surface of Pachamama, they're at the core. And so as high up as my head is, that's how low my feet are. So I'm ultimately grounded as well. The other people don't quite catch that. Yeah. You gonna add
Um,
something?
yeah, I want to add two things to react on what Robin just told with her head in the ozone and but still very much grounded. That is not easy for everybody, but also um, um, when I look um, at types, character structures from people. When you look at Robin, and and by people who are more like her character structure, it is way more easier with the head up in the sky. And because of all the practice that Robin has, she can earth also very well. But that's because of all her practice. When you look at my character structure, I am more down to earth. I have never had that comment that somebody was saying to me, "Oh, your head is high up in the earth." Everybody knew that I had a very, for many people, strange, but a very close connection to Mother Earth, and also I can do sometimes, but when I want to talk with spirit, I'm staying in my body. I'm asking spirit to come to me. When it's a spirit that's outside of me, a guide or whomever it is, then I ask to come towards to me. And so I can fly in the earth or in the cosmos, and I like to do it very much, but I do it that more because I like it or I want to go to some places. But most of the time I'm going to places. So I was telling a story to Robin that I was very close to her, where I was going towards the Pacific Ocean. But then that's my way of connecting with the cosmos. But when I'm flying and coming down to the Earth, then I'm asked also cosmic beings to be with me. That's so that our different ways to do it, and there's no better or worse. There is Robin's way that is good for her, and this is my way that is good for me. And when Robin would do it my way, then she would think that nothing is going anymore, and she doesn't hear anything, and probably
working.
probably her spirits and her guides were saying, "Robin, where are you? We miss you here, up here in the ozone." We miss. Where I also wanted to react it on still is because it's what Robin also said. It's such a hot topic about everything, the dark stuff that is happening in the world, and there goes so much attention towards. The way you have to look at it, it's the 10%, and I really mean this. This is the 10% that is yelling, and that the media is pointed towards. That's all they take. All the 90%, what is happening in the world is super beautiful, is nice. There are struggling people, and but it it is just the balance between right and wrong. It is always living on earth means there is good and there is bad. There is darkness, there is light. And um, um, I don't want to say now that all the darkness is bad, because what we said early on already, the feminine part is darkness. But um, um, I'm not going too deep in that right now, but what I'm trying to say is you have to choose where you feed yourself with. When you feed yourself with all this shit, what is told on television, that is told on media, half of it is not true, but there still happens a lot of shitty things. And I'm warning you now already, the darkest stuff is not to the surface already. But everything what Pachamama is doing, that everything of her darkness is coming to the surface. And not only from the people, shitty stuff, also other stuff, but the darkest stuff still has to come. So when you now already completely out of balance from all the shit that is happening, that is not yours. Keep that to those people who produce those shit, who telling those shit. That's only 10%. That's only 10% from everything what is here on the earth. So you have to do better. When you want to do better, you have to change your world, and you have to point your world towards the good things, towards the beautiful things. And I understand that it's not easy, because what is coming out, all that nasty part, is exactly the way that people in power want you to react. Fear is the most important part of that, what they use to keep you small. As long as you are in fear, you cannot come in your own power. And when you are in your own power, then those people in power cannot do anything anymore with you, because you are walking your own way. They, eh, you are not small anymore. They have no influence on you anymore. And when you listen to all that shit and um, getting afraid because of that, then they have you. Then they are in charge of your life. So you have to choose. Do you? And you are free to choose. When that is the life you want to have, please do it. But when you don't want this life, then you have to choose, and you have to turn around and look in other direction. And you literally, physically have to do something else. You can only change by changing your behavior, by changing your habits, by changing. And it becomes more and more and more important to choose. While the distance between and that's also what Robin was describing with everything that beautiful what she was telling about the astral. It's a word that I cannot say. There are too many
The
R's in my
astrological.
yes, my tongue functions differently. And um, um, because all this astrological things that are happening, the worlds are going further and further away from each other. The darker world and the beautiful world, the age of Aquarius. I'm not gonna sing. Don't panic. I'm not gonna sing that song. Oh God, now they know already how old we are. When the moon
We're
was in the
ancient.
seventh house, yes. And um, 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 don't let fear holding you up. The other part from fear is so much more beautiful. That's what I wanted to react.
Wonderful. I'm going to take it a little bit more too, because this is a perfect description of reclaim your power. So if you're falling prey to all the sensationalism that's out there and how horrible everything is, and you're locked into that, you're mired into that, you have chosen to give your power to that. So reclaim your power, and by being, not by doing rituals to make the planet heal and blah, blah. You the planet, she's doing her thing with or without us. She's gonna keep doing it when we're gone. She's been
and,
doing it before we are here.
and the planet is not sick. She is not sick. That's also one of
Correct.
the things they want you to believe. And that also that it is our fault that she is sick. That is all a lie. She is not sick. She is thriving. And she is thriving this hard that she can that she can lift herself up and become that even more beautiful thing. I'm sorry. I had to
Yes,
react.
Pluto, these Pluto energies that I'm talking about is describing her refinement process. She is going through a process of refinement where the dark energies are separating out from the light energies. It's high frequency, low frequency separation. That's refinement being described by these Pluto aspects. She's not sick at all. She is going through her natural cycles, and we happen to have chosen to be fortunate enough to be here during this transformation, and you claim your power by being. So step out into your magical walk instead of watching the news, and just take your place. Like, okay, if you're the kind of person who's like, oh, but I need to do a prayer for the planet because I there's fellow humans suffering. Yeah, okay, by all means, absolutely, but not the old kind. Not where you're begging and you're focused on the negative and how much horrible stuff is. Not like that. By going out into your nature walk and being excited because a flower falls off the tree in front of you, while what thought was running through your head? What is that message? Mhm. And visualize there is always, at all times, there is a planetary circle of light workers. They like to think there's and all the other titles that go with that. It depends on your culture and your perspective, but there are people around the planet always involved in sacred ceremony and who understand and are inclusive of that circle includes what I mean by taking your place in the circle. It's not a human circle, it's the whole circle, the all of nature, the animals, the ancestors, the spirit allies, the birds, the insects, the elements, all of those beings are in ceremony all the time. When we go to sleep in our dream time, we are participating in that ceremony on a higher frequency than what we're doing here during the day, during our waking conscious hours. So the first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is consciously step into my place in the circle. And a lot of times you go through the day and then all this doing and bumping and being and happenings and you forget about the circle and the ceremony. And then when you get home, instead of turning the news on and falling deeper, just take that moment to have your magical adventure and send your prayers out from there. And that's being. And so my big reason for wanting everybody to participate in the magical adventure and drop us comments. And by the way, there's a lot of people who have told me in person. I didn't get to it yet, but I'm going to. I'm so excited about it. So
I,
we're
I,
looking for more comments. We know they're coming this week, so thanks for that.
I
But
have
we
a question.
promised that we were going to talk. Yeah.
I want I want to ask you all a question. If you understand what the difference for you personally is between doing and being, and write that down in the comment. What is for you the personally the difference? I can give an answer on this question when I ask it to myself. Is, for instance, my dog. Sometimes we talked about it. Is a very old dog. Is a very sensitive dog, and also very energetically sensitive dog. And otherwise, he couldn't live with me, and I couldn't live with another dog. He has quite some physical issues. Let's call it that way. So me as a long time osteopath and a healer, and I was busy trying to heal, and nothing worked and nothing helped, and I was trying so hard, and he was trying so hard to go away, and then my inner self was saying, "You are working so hard. Just send him love." And so he was very how do I say, jumpy. He was then jumping up and then walking around, and then he didn't have the rest in him and the peace in him that he usually have. So I put my hands away. I just take a deep breath first, connected with my inner self, and radiated my love towards him. And it was horrible because it worked that well. Just 2 seconds after that, doink, he fell on his little bed and he slept for the rest of the day. And he walked when he woke up, he walked way better than before. So that is what I'm trying to say also is that and that's what I've working so long, and I've noticed when I want so badly that my hands do the right stuff by that person or by that animal, then nothing is going on. When I relax, you can heal a lot, but it has to come from inward and not by wanting or doing, or just let the flow do its work. And that flow is way more intelligent than that there is. Robin?
This is how, okay, so my purpose of wanting people to do the exercise was because it's a demonstration of putting yourself in the flow instead of wanting and directing and micromanaging. Okay. And because the path to being, the key to being is playing. It's play. It's play. I just heard you say because your message, you're working too hard. Exactly. That's doing. So being is playing. That's what we were as children. That's all we did. We played. Everything was play. We were just being. And that's our natural state. That is our natural state. So that was purpose of this exercise, is to demonstrate to yourself and feel and recognize, what does it feel like inside to be in the flow. Okay. So we promised we were gonna talk about our experiences. So let's get into that a little bit. Do you want to start with the fire?
It's okay. Yeah, I can do that. 2 days ago, there was a big fire, a nature fire, not far from here. It was about 7 kilometers or 5 miles or something like that. I think that's about the same. I'm not sure. And but it was so and from where the fire was towards here, we were in the line of the wind direction. Here it was there was so much smoke here that for a while it was the rest of the day it was sunny without any cloud, but it was so much smoke sometimes that we couldn't see the sun anymore. And because it was already a long time there, and I had heard where the fire is, and I was thinking, when it's so far away and it's so smoky here, what the hell is going on? And when you go back to the element podcast that are in more than one part, and there we speak that we as humans are able to direct the elements, and that it is one of our tasks also. So I was thinking, okay, I need to know a little bit more, because when there is a fire and when are people in danger, or houses or whatever, then it's a part of my task to look if I can do something about it. So I'm looked at the news to know what was going on, to be able to direct the fire better. And then I knew it was a nature fire, and it came very close to a little airport where there are many business flights. So it's not a big airport, but the fire came very close to that airport with its fuel tanks, air fuel, kerosene. And that also was very close to a big center where illegal people live, who are waiting to know if they can come in the country or have to go away again. And then we are talking about 1,500 people. So I was thinking, oh God, that is really a disaster in the making. So I have to do what I can do to change that. So I started to connect. So I did not went there physically. I stayed here, and I connected with the fire and started to talk with the fire. And so that I was explaining the fire, what is going on and where the fire is going towards, and that it will hurt a lot of people. Well, because very close to that airport is also a little village. So it were not only the people, those illegal people, but also the little village was also in danger. So I was explaining that to the fire, and then I started also talking to Vaira, the wind, because the wind was blowing quite strongly, and it was an easterly wind, and it was a very dry wind, so it swept the fire constantly up. So and I also connected with the water in the ground and with the water that came out of the how do you call this? What the firefighters used. I cannot find the right word.
The hose.
The hose, yes, where the water came out. I noticed that connecting with that water, what for me normally is very easy, connected with the water, but as if I had to focus on the fire and on the wind. So I started to talk to the wind also, and asked the wind, and said the wind, what will happen when it goes to that direction. And so I asked the wind, please turn a little bit more to east, and I think I said also a little bit more east, northeast. They had in sailing we use those terms, and that there is nature, and that it's not on me to stop the fire. When Mother Earth wants this fire, then that it's able to keep on this fire, but not hurting people. And I felt after a while, it's even not that long, that I got more relaxed, and also that it was more difficult for me to focus on it. And then I asked the wind to show me, or let me feel if I'm ready, if it's going to happen. And then I felt directly that I get a reaction from the wind, and then I let it go. And then my job is done. And when it helped, then it helped. So I didn't know anything because I see no news. I see nothing. But the day after I heard, I was also curious, of course. So I went looking for it, and then they said that um, really just a few meters before the fire was with those tanks, those fuel tanks, that all of a sudden the wind turned, and that all the danger was gone. And I don't know, of course, if that was a part because of me. I like to think that, of course. No, I have to say that differently. That is my small brain that that is scared to I even don't know how to say that. When I going to my inner self, then I know that I was a part of this doing. And it's of course never just me. Yeah, there are more powers, more, but that I was a part of it that made it able to um, that a big disaster didn't happened. That it was just nature. Nature, as sometimes probably most people know that um, Mother Earth wants sometimes that her nature burns down because she can grow better. Burnt soil is also an the, my brain stopped working. A fertilizer. And so therefore Mother Earth does it herself sometimes, that she burns part of nature. And so nature will revive, will grow back again. That was my thing.
I love that. I love that. So since we're talking about weather, then I'm going to share the one about weather as well. And maybe what we should do is, since other people haven't gotten to share a whole bunch about their magical walks, maybe next podcast we'll keep a fun and light one, and we'll just talk about specifically about our walks, because we're
Next
running
time,
out
you
of
mean?
time on this one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do one about my weather, and then next podcast, we'll do specifically what happened on our nature walks and meanings of that, and we'll just play, and we'll have extra comments from others, and we can grab some of those and talk about those too. So today maybe we'll end with our weather stories. Sound good? All right. So my weather story is my sister and brother-in-law make maple syrup here in Vermont. Best maple syrup. I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. If I get permission, we'll put a link down in the comments next week.
Oh,
You can contact him and get the best maple syrup ever.
I
Okay.
can I
So
can always I can always put it later on also on the description down here.
on this one, okay,
I
okay,
can put
I'll
also or
contact him and
later
I'll let you
also.
know, and then you
I w-
hear.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So, um, okay, so we got to the beginning of sugar season this year, and it went well, and then all of a sudden the temperatures dropped, and just sort of tongue in cheek, Todd asked me, "Do you think you could do anything about the weather?" And I was just like, "Yeah, that's who we work with. That's who I call the allies, all the beings that involve the seasons, the elements, the directions. This Yes, that's what we do." So I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And so I did a ceremony, and um like, not one, like, I didn't write it out, I didn't plan it, it didn't come out of my brain. It I sat with it, and I asked the maple essence, who came to me as a goddess, and I asked her what was needed, because if I jump in there and say, like, I know all of the perfect conditions that have to happen for sap to run and boil it off and for success. Um But, if I jump in that equation and just put specific things that I want to manifest from knowing what I know in my little brain, I can set a lot of things out of balance that I'm not aware of. Like, why did the weather drop? Like, why did nature have that happen? I don't know. It's not my place to know. So, all I did was bring my awareness. I took my place within the circle, and I did my ceremony inviting whatever was needed. So the maple goddess came, and it involved water and wind, which you too. This is awesome, right? So this one was the water, of course, because it's from the core of the earth, and coming through the roots of the trees and making the sap. So there's the water element. But I couldn't understand the wind. Why the wind? And it really kind of, still, I didn't get it all, but it had something to do with the whispering of the leaves on the maple trees. And so I was just like, "Well, okay, that's just, even with my head in the ozone, that's out of my realm. I don't know what you're saying to me." So I just allowed, and then I just added my energy to wherever I was directed to. It's just more like, just like turning on a flashlight and saying, "See, this is, I need you to work over here," or something like that. And then I just let it go. And I had one of the sensations I get when like my ceremony is complete, it's been accepted, is I feel like a cloak or blanket being put over me. So it's kind of like, we've got your back. And then I just rest into that and just let it go. And that's all I did. And like you, I was curious. So I looked at my app and I saw the temperatures, and it was a lot. It was a lot. It was significant change had to happen, and it was an entire week of low temperatures, all, like, down in the 20s and maybe low 30s, but for the sap to run, it has to be above 40 during the day, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a lot." So I was like, "Well, okay." They said they had my back, so then I swiped it off, and I wish I would have thought to take a screenshot and a before and after, but, I just let it go. And then it just happens, I had a phone call from my sister and brother-in-law last night, And I was like, "Oh, by the way, did it happen? Did the temperatures get better?" And they were like, "Oh, yeah, it was wonderful." And how it worked out is they tapped half the amount of the trees that they tapped last year, but they produced the same amount of syrup, and it was the high grade syrup. So it was really high quality syrup as well. So that was just so exciting. I was like, "Oh, I should have taken a before and after of the temperatures," because it's so satisfying. That kind of stuff is what feeds your ego, and that's fun, but it's not the part you cling to. But I do want to kind of highlight the two things I see with how this happened is because we took ourselves out of the equation. Both you and I consciously was like, I am not directing it. I'm not controlling, I'm not giving directions to the allies. I'm telling them what I need, what I want, and then allowing them then I take the supporting role and I feed energy to them without controlling the outcome or keep checking back to see if it happened. That's a release. And that's what I call not micromanaging. I put the prayer out. I got the immediate answer by the feeling of they've got my back. Let it go. Don't wonder if it's happening. Don't go back and check the temperatures every day. Oh, it's up 6 degrees. Okay, we're moving in the right direction. Just know and let it go. And then later go, oh hey, did that happen? And go check and that's fun. Then you're still in the flow, you're in the spirit of play and and that's the key is that you're allowing the space and you're fully consciously in the space of like you said, your little self will go, well, I don't know if I had anything to do with that. But your higher self is, of course you did. You stepped into the circle with that intention. You were the one who put all that awareness of whatever ancestors, allies came to assist in the situation. You are the little point of consciousness that acted as a focal point of like, hey, we need help over here. You decide what kind of help we need, but we need help.
And and
And I believe
um
that is why
and
it was successful.
um what I learned a long time ago because I asked it and I didn't understand it is um, why does the world or need me as an as a kind of translator, but not translated from the brain. But why does it have to go um, 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 not directly from spirit, from a cosmic being to whatever it is? For the question, it was of course had to do with my job that when somebody needed healing, that had to go through my body and not directly to that person. That would be in my way of thinking way easier and for me also way quieter, way less intensive. And um, and, um, it has to do because we are earthly beings and and when it's about earthly things that need to happen, they need earthly beings, and therefore we have to direct that energy and part of our own energy, but mostly of the energy of the whole circle from cosmic being, but also Mother Earth, to direct it and um, what you also can do is perhaps also a new thing to practice. Well, what we are doing, we are not the only one who know how to do it. And I I'm tend to say that it is possible for everybody to learn, but not everybody is living in the frequency that you can play, but play in the most nicest way with the elements. But try to practice with the clouds. Ask the clouds to make a form, or what you want, or and don't try that monkey brain of yours try to interfere while in well, the way we've learned it is that it's not possible, but it is. You are nature. You are as much nature as that cloud is, and that cloud want to connect with you and just communicate. Just try to find a way, and let us know in the comment what kind of figure you have made together with the clouds. We really like to hear from you.
Yes, I know. This is getting fun. And it's like, come and play. So next week is going to be all play. We're going to talk about our magical adventures. We'll grab some out of the comments, and if people talk to us in person, we can bring some of those comments in. So come prepared next week with what your experiences were on your magical adventure, and we'll keep it nice and lighthearted next week. We'll just play, talk about our symbols and our processes that we went through.
See you next
Okay.
week. Enjoy the playfulness.